So imagine my surprise when I wake up and my friend texts me that Victoria's Secret is holding an open casting. Something that 14-year-old, 17-year-old, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old me would have just absolutely gone crazy about. And I definitely sent it to everyone that I knew, and I was like, yo, check this out. This is crazy. Victoria's Secret holding an open call is a crazy concept. And if you're in the modeling community, you just know that that's a crazy concept, especially if you started modeling, I don't know, like anywhere between the 90s to early 2000s to like the 2010s to 2015, which is when I started. You just know that like this is a crazy concept that many models are just jumping to the opportunity to do. And yeah, I took one look at the application and I was like, they want me to give up the rights to what now? Yeah, so, right. I don't know if the application is still up, but it's all public information. If you are a model and you signed up, you saw it. I didn't sign up, and I'm not going to. But I just think it's like a crazy concept that they're holding an open call. Basically, what it said is that you can't sue them if something goes wrong. You can't try to like file a lawsuit. And I'm sorry, like, guys, I don't know if you can see it, but like I have a sty, I'm pretty sure, from I don't know what. I don't know if it's like my skincare or what, or if I'm like rubbing my eyes too much, which I know I do. Anyways, love that for me. Love it. So yeah, we're just gonna talk about this because this is actually crazy, and the amount of people that are just signing up for this casting, even again, I sent it to all my model friends. Like, I was like, oh my god, sign up. And then I thought about it for a second. And then I thought all about the videos that I've been seeing in light of certain files, right? In light of certain redacted, heavily redacted files. I'm reading from notes because I just like, I need a train of thought right now. It's crazy. So if you don't know, if you're here like and you don't know about Victoria's Secret history, or you're a new model, and before the trolls access this video potentially, I just want to say that, like, don't try to make the spotlight on Melia is not a model. Whatever. That it's old. It's not funny anymore. It was for a little bit, but it's not funny anymore. This is serious. Like, topic. So try to lock in solidarity, trolls. All right, in solidarity of protection for like actual literal human rights right now, because that's like how serious this is. Let's try to be like stoic at the moment, okay? So basically you had to agree to not sue when shit inevitably goes wrong, and then you can't apply for the casting, right? So immediately I was like, fuck that. Because again, that kind of shit is just so predatory. We don't do that. And I think just like, I had agents that would just say, just sign the contract, fuck it, like, whatever. So what if it's predatory? Which made me adopt a mindset for a little bit that was like, yeah, you know, especially for myself as a model. I would just think to myself, yeah, whatever, even if it's predatory. This is just what models have to go through in order to make it. And that's actually not true. You don't have to do that in order to make it, whatever the fuck that means. So yeah, it's really predatory, and I think this is like every new girl model's dream job, is to walk the Victoria's Secret runway the way that the models did back between, I want to say like 2005 and like 2015 was like their really good run of Victoria's Secret fashion show. And also, don't mind my hair. I couldn't be bothered to clip it back. I just feel like having my hair free right now. Yeah. So again, even like me, like I was literally halfway through the application where I kind of just took a step back and I was like, hold on, what? And they are going to be working with a certain agency that I've been told not to work with. So I'm just gonna leave that there. Because if you're in this very, like, I don't know who's gonna see this, but yeah, this is crazy. It's not that crazy, but you know, do what you will with this information, by the way. Like, I literally am not gonna flame anyone for wanting to apply and taking this opportunity. And I've seen a lot of agents come online and say, I see a lot of you already signed models signing up for the Victoria's Secret open casting, and I just think that you should leave it for the new models that don't have opportunities and still need to be discovered. Maybe just let's not promote this. Maybe let's let whoever wants to sign up for it. Because the truth is, we all know the history of I don't even know if I'm allowed to say his name, but there's a model who goes onto TikTok, a male model, an ex-male model. I don't know if he still like considers himself. Anyways, an ex-male model who was like one of the victims of the person who owned I believe it's like Abercrombie and Fitch, Hollister, Victoria's Secret, etc. yeah, I think it's like we should all know better than to. And while I am aware that they had a hiatus to only have the worst, like, Fenty ripoff fashion show ever come back, and that's just my opinion, okay? Like, their comeback after the hiatus, like, what was that? Their comeback after the comeback 2.0, like the next year, where they were on that like metallic runway, if you guys know what I'm talking about. That was a little bit better. And I honestly, I haven't really been keeping up with it because like I'm actually a working model now. So I'm like, okay, Victoria's Secret. Again, this is like no shade or tea or hate to it, because like I literally personally know and have worked with people who have worked on the Victoria's Secret fashion show, okay? Like backstage and models. Like no shade or tea at all. I'm just saying, like, let's not like pretend that we don't know the history, right? And I think just like, we forgive you, you had one good comeback. Let's just, in light of certain redacted files, and putting that, again, like, kind of going back to what I was saying in the beginning of the video, right? How are you gonna say, hey, something goes horribly wrong, we're not responsible at all? Like, and you, by clicking this box, sign your life away? I don't know. Like, whatever. Yeah. So me personally, like, as a up and coming model, I was so groomed by the 2014 era of, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that word, but I already said it, whatever. I was so groomed. I keep saying that. Anyways, basically since I was like 14, wanted to be a lingerie model, and that was like my aspiration. And a certain sister brand that rhymes with mink and had a little dog as the mascot of the brand was targeted towards teenagers. Here, where I live, where I grew up in 2014, we had 2 locations, okay? The models came to Hawaii to do a pop-up. So needless to say, all of the teenagers here were posting photos that would not age well in the current landscape of certain redacted files. Okay? So at the ripe age of 15 and 16, everyone I know, including myself, was really like dead set on being noticed by mink and certain Les Wexner owned brands back in 2014. Okay, so I mean, obviously, like I said, since then I've gone on to do like actual like serious fashion work, and like I am now actually working model. So, like, I realized that maybe being a certain demographic of girl that would be put on private jets and sent to certain islands, maybe that just wasn't in the cards for me, and obviously, thank God it wasn't. And obviously, I hope that doesn't come off as insensitive, because all of that is horrible. But being a model, again, a young model in 2014, young impressionable model in 2014, that was definitely an interesting journey here on an island where the model market always has been like bikinis and resort wear and beach wear and being tan and fit and very Victoria's Secret adjacent. And also Sports Illustrated had come here a few times to do like in-person scouting. In-person scouting was like still really huge back then. So if that like paints a picture, right? It was like, honestly, like the best way I can describe it is like Hawaii has like small, very small, like, cause we're like barely a market of anything, if anything, is like a small version of like Miami and like LA, just in terms of like modeling and fashion market. Miami meets like LA, kind of meets Japan, meets Hawaii. That's all I have to say. Anyways, so it was just a really interesting market, and oh my God, I forgot I wrote this down. This is tea. Oh, this is a lot. Okay, anyways, so some of the models that I was coming up with locally were also working with American Apparel. And they were holding open calls in Honolulu and online, and like in Waikiki specifically. Oh my gosh. And like that was like, I wanted to be an American Apparel model so bad. Like that was a brand that really resonated with me like back then. Oh God, it was 2014, okay? And did I have a Tumblr? You bet I did. Was I watching Skins? You bet I was. Yeah, I don't even know where I was trying to get with that. Oh, so my sister was also modeling too at the time. When I was like coming up as a model, my sister was already a working model, and she had actually gotten a callback, an in-person callback with the freaking owner of American Apparel at the time, who I think is like literally, I don't know where he's at right now. Hopefully behind certain bars. Anyways, she got a call back for the American Apparel casting, and that, thank God, never transpired and never manifested. Transpired, whatever. I don't know if I'm even speaking English right now. And yeah, some of the models that I was working with here were like consistently working with American Apparel, and that was the whole thing. And of course too, because I was like, you know, a young model, I think I had like an agent at the time, but they were very like directionless with me, so I was just doing what I could with what I had. And I'm like a very resourceful girl, like especially as a kid, so of course I was doing like the whatever online castings I could find for like agencies, and that's how I got my initial agent. And at 14, And I think I did the online casting a few times for American Apparel. And they had gotten back to me showing interest. But they were asking for like different, like, you know, they were asking for like different digitals and stuff. And I think I remember, like, I don't know if I'm like recalling this exactly, but they had like an open call for like talent and then a model open call. And I applied for both because at the time I was dancing like full time in school and outside of school. So I was in a studio and our school had a dance program. Anyways, so I had applied for the casting as a dancer, and then, so naive. I was very, oh my lord. Anyways, so, yeah, I did the online casting at every angle that I could take as a model, as a dancer, right, as in under the talent. And they got back to me and they were interested, but they kept on asking for like different photos. And I think eventually it was just like they stopped asking for more photos. And looking back, I think it's just like horrifying that they kept on asking for more photos. And it was never anything like, I knew, like, I had the wherewithal, like, at 14 to know, like, not to send, like, send us a nude photo. Like, yeah, I would never do that, you know? But how many more photos of me do you need? Right. Yeah, there's so many like things that I actually, oh, hold on. So many crazy experiences, but on like having to actually say that I had to turn down a Victoria's Secret casting tops the cake, like tops the cake thus far. But also doesn't, because it's like justice for the victims, you know what I mean? Was there like any like reparations or like acknowledgement? Yeah. So, there's a couple other crazy things. Like, I was supposed to go to Thailand. I remember when I was like 14 or 15, my agent had gotten a direct request to send me to this like huge fashion agency in Thailand. I think they also had already like set up like a booking too. Like, I think I was a request for like Nivea or something. So we had that like whole like meeting with like the Thailand agency, and it was about to happen, and then it just fell through, you know. And I feel like at peace with that totally, because, and genuinely, I feel very divinely protected in my career. There was another time that I was supposed to shoot with like this knockoff Brandy Melville brand. that's literally how I noted it. I'm crying. Anyways, I was supposed to shoot with this like knockoff Brandy Melville ish brand, and I just remember like vividly, I was as sick as a dog. I was laying in bed, like AC on or off, I don't remember. I was so sick the day that I was supposed to shoot with them, and the shoot was like an hour away, an hour and a half away. So I was sick, but we still had the shoot scheduled, and like I did not know how to set boundaries at the time, so I was like just gonna power through it. And then I remember my mom just, I needed to rest. I was like burning up or something. And so I needed to rest. And my mom didn't wake me up for the shoot. And she just let me rest. And it didn't happen. And I think specifically I remember, like, I had a dream where I ended up going to the shoot. So to wake up and find out that she didn't wake me up for the shoot, I think, like, obviously, looking back on it, you know, was divine protection. It didn't hinder me in any way to not shoot with a knockoff Brandy Melville, which it's like Brandy Melville's literally fast fashion, so, you know, but back in, so this was like around 2015, and it really had a certain aesthetic going for it. But anyways, I don't know if I want to say that. Basically, there was one casting for Fashion Week that I did, and obviously, all of this to say is, like, none of these things transpired, and I believe it was all for a reason, because I feel very, like, grateful for everything that has manifested within my career. But there was this one brand that I got a call back for my first season of Fashion Week, and I was like, oh my God, if I book this, like, that would be insane, you know? So I remember, like, I arrived to the fitting and I'm like shitting bricks. I'm so, like, dressed inappropriately, so ill prepared. And then, like, I totally, like, blew the fitting. I think because it was just, like, my nerves showed, which is a lesson in and of itself. But basically, I, like, was so, like, beating myself up and back then, and really worried, because before I'd gone in, I did way too much, like, looking into it, which I've learned since. Again, this was like my first Fashion Week season. I've done a lot of Fashion Week since, but I remember my first Fashion Week, I got, like, a huge call back. Basically, like, I blew it because I had seen that the Hadids had recently, like, worked with them, and also, like, this model girl from my agency that I had a huge crush on at the time had worked with them as well. So I was like, I need to work with them. Like, Hadids and my agency wifey need to notice me. Anyways, so yeah, that's my story times. I feel like this got very directionless. I don't know what I'm probably gonna title the video "The Time I Turned Down Victoria's Secret." Whatever. Clickbait. Anyways, good night. Love you.